Hello, everybody. It's Johanna here with Orbital Astrology, and you're for the weekly forecast. And this is the week of March 12th through the 18th. So we are in the the last full week of Pisces season, and it is gonna go out with a bang because this is a very, very Neptunian week. It's a very Pisces week. It's that final push before we get to Aries season, which is the official start of the astrological new year. And yeah, things just really just the transition between Pisces to Aries season is always very dramatic and very like, okay, like right now we're in that like weird nebulous place. I think I keep mentioning the word like nebulous. Um, but it's that like the end of flu season starts and the beginning of allergy season starts. Like my nose has been running like all week. I always joke that like, all right, time to say goodbye to mascara for the next like 3 months. But yeah, so we're in that weird Piscean oceanic flowy place, and this is going to be quite a huge week for that type of energy because Neptune is finally coming into its perfected square with Mars, and this is considered to be one of the most confusing, unclear, sort of delusional aspect in astrology. And yes, I always am like standing Neptune. And Neptune is my favorite planet, but it does get a lot of negative associations with it. It's like alcoholics and drug addicts and escapism and delusion and not having your head on your shoulders and being able to see reality for what it is. You just see what you want to see. um and you know what, there's a time and place for that. So I am always in defense of Neptune. So this week, it's a great week to do all the Neptunian things that you want to do that are constructive. Go see a psychic, work on your own psychic ability, connect to spirit, meditate, take long showers and hot baths, go to the hot springs, swim in a pool. Any sort of water related activity you can do this week, do it. And if you don't have any major like constructive Saturnian things that you want to do the other things. Like, don't go and start, investing in anything, obviously, as we've seen with the current financial stuff going on right now. But do go see movies, like indulge in those things, indulge in the arts, indulge in music, go to a concert, sit in your room with your headphones on and just absorb music for until you sort of float away on a cloud. That's the type of Neptune stuff you can do this week. And it's going to be such a huge Neptunian week because of all the aspects that are happening. Plus Pisces association with Neptune. All the planets in Pisces are going to get sort of popped off this week a little bit. There's going to be some sun conjunctions. We're going to have a lot of squares. Also, the other two signs that are sextile to Pisces, which are Capricorn and Taurus, are going to be activated this week as well. So it's a really supportive Piscean type of energy. So all of the planets in Pisces and all the planets in Taurus and Capricorn, which I'll talk about the specifics in a second, but all of those planets are going to be really supporting and talking and flowing with each other. Also, we have the moon going through Sagittarius this week, which means it's going to cross over the galactic center. Of course, I've always talked about the galactic center as being like my number one interest in astrology. So that kind of adds an extra level of like, I don't know, vibrational, just sort of woo-woo energy because, galactic center energy and astrology is still yet to really be defined. But at this point, it's mostly associated with the source, right? We talk about the black hole at the center of our galaxy. We're all swirling around it. We're all being pulled towards it. Radio waves come from it. So there is some sort of like energetic pull or energetic vibration towards this center where we all maybe originated from, right? The Big Bang happened and all of the space dust around it is where we are at right now. So Galactic Center is very interesting to me, very exciting. I've been doing lots of research on it, so hopefully I'll be able to eventually publish those findings that they've been working on. But I just wanted to say that not only is this week super Piscean, super Neptunian, but it's also super galactic week. Like the Galactic Center energy is really, really strong. So, people may have some really weird experiences this week, sort of like seeing signs or whatever. You see like whatever, and if you're into numerology, you'll probably see some like 1111s, or you'll see whatever numbers keep popping up to you. Synchronicity is going to be really strong this week. And, if you're a tarot reader, I would definitely be consulting those cards because that connection to spirit is really strong. So you may get some really interesting messages this week. But outside of the scope of the woo, not a great week to live in the constructive, concrete world that we are currently, that's just the world we live in, right? We do not live in a Neptunian world, though it has been much more Neptunian in the past like 10 to 12 years because Pisces, Neptune has been in Pisces, which is its, strongest place in modern astrology. So, um, just be careful, be aware that you may just feel out of it. You just may feel super dreamy this week, super like one foot in reality, one foot in the spirit world, one foot in like that, like doing double takes or deja vu. A lot of that type of energy is very Neptunian. So if you feel like, did that really happen, or did I dream that, or I feel like I know this. This is already like been a part of my life. So I know a lot of people who are at Resonant Essentials are very much into all of this stuff. So if you are watching this and you're like, man, I don't know what to do this week. Well, check out their schedule, check out the calendar. The psychic fair is actually happening right now as we speak, which is what it's 3 o'clock Mountain Time here in Albuquerque. So if you are in the area, you should head on down to Resident Essentials, and there are many readers right there. It's probably a very busy day because people are feeling that Neptunian energy happening. But it's a very mutable week as well, because that Mars energy is also present. So mutable energy is very like unstable. It's very much in a transitionary period between, this sort of established, fixed, calm, steady energy into rebirthing of the cardinal energy that comes after all of the mutable signs. So it kind of can feel uncomfortable to be in that sort of flux of mutable energy. A lot of people don't like feeling uncertain or confused about the future, and that's why they, go to psychics or astrologers or tarot readers. And so, the people want answers. People want concrete results. They want all of that, which is what our world promises. Saturnian world promises concrete results, but this is a much more Neptunian world this week. So how you cope with that, how you work with that, is up to you, right? Just take and embrace the Neptunian parts of your life. You can use the Neptunian parts of your life as some sort of a safe place, a solace. But just be aware that there's this sort of pesky little Mars energy happening this week as well, and that is considered to be one of the most negative um, alignments in astrology because Mars wants to take action in a specific way. It wants to go, 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 but Neptune is the cloudy, misty, oceanic atmosphere. It's like sailing a ship through a storm. You're not able to see which direction, but you have to get. It's a very dire sort of a situation where you got to get to shore. You got to get, avoid the icebergs, avoid the rocks, but you can't see them. So that's the type of energy that's present this week. So if you can make the decision not to go to sea, not to take a trip, not to do anything that needs clear, direction this week, then just indulge in the nice, fuzzy, dreamy world. Sleep a lot this week if you can. Your dreams, I would keep a dream journal this week. If you're in my Orbit membership, we're going to be doing an exercise during the the Neptune Sun conjunction that happens this week. So that way you can sort of like do an actual physical embodiment of the energy and make it constructive in your own life. But if you are not in the membership, then no worries. You can always interpret this for yourself, or come to an astrologer, go to a tarot reader, or psychic, whatever, and to get more clarity on that, because it may be really confusing this week. You're just like, I am so it may feel really good, but it may feel really confusing. Like I don't even know how to explain what I'm feeling. um so yeah, there's a lot of fantasy, escapism, spirituality, of course, delusions. If you want to just watch your favorite movies all day long, that's another big Neptunian activity. So don't feel bad. I mean, the Oscars are tonight, so it's kind of a celebration of film. And it is very, I wonder if it will be very Neptunian tonight. Of course, last year is the big Oscar drama, so it's been like a year anniversary with of the slap, right, of Chris Rock's getting slapped by Will Smith. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see what happens tonight if people are gonna even acknowledge that happening or if they're just gonna gloss right over it, which is what Neptune would do. So, um, yeah. So if you are going to be doing any of that stuff this week, just be aware. I always say like, what did I write? Indulge in comforts, but leave a life raft for yourself. Like, don't go too deep because you can get lost, or you get sucked into the current, or you get, dashed against the rocks. Like, Mars is kind of a jerk, right? Mars is Mars is um that person that pokes you, the one that makes fun of you. Mars is kind of a bully, especially with Mars and Gemini. That words, using your words against you. Neptune doesn't think about the words. Neptune is like, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and things may come out of my mouth that don't make sense, and Mars is going to just jump right on that and use it against you because Mars and Gemini is kind of a jerk that way, right? It's kind of a um, well, you know what? You said it, so I'm gonna blast it all over the internet. It's like the Mars, Neptune, when you go to a sleepover, right? And you're playing truth or dare when you're a kid, and like you say something really personal about yourself, and you're like, no one, this doesn't leave the room, or you're being really vulnerable, or you make like a fool of yourself or something like accidentally. The Mars is going to go tell everybody at school the next day. Mars and Gemini, so that type of energy is very present. So just be aware. Um, yeah, Mars is a mean bitch. Really is, especially Mars and Gemini. I feel like it's really vindictive, sort of spiteful type energy. No offense if you have Mars and Gemini in your chart, and if you don't know where your Mars is, it's very, very helpful to figure that out because it will tell you a lot about how you cope with anger, how you deal with jealousy and spitefulness, how you deal with passionate feeling like revved up about something, and how you cope with that. So yeah, I was gonna say, oh, Mars is like the person at the party. Like if Neptune has drunk too much and then fell asleep, Mars would be the one drawing on your face or writing expletives all over you or making you look like a fool, taking your picture, putting on social media. That's the type of energy. So just be careful, right? I mean, Neptune is fun. Neptune is just dreamy and relaxing. Especially this is the last week of Pisces. Um, really kind of try to enjoy that. It's going to be such an overwhelmingly Piscean week that you may not have a choice but to like enjoy it, or you may not have a choice but to be sort of absorbed in the waters of Pisces this week. But this is it. This is the final week before we go into Aries season and things really get rowdy because Aries season is always, always. I mean, I talk about this every year how it's my least favorite season because it's so dramatic and so um, such a huge difference between the two. The transition between Pisces to Aries is kind of a violent transition. It's very abrupt. It's very much like a harsh wake up call. Um, and people get a little, I don't know, it's like, okay, the cat's out of the bag, or the release the kraken type energy, um, where things feel unleashed and everyone just sort of goes crazy and wild. So yeah, a lot of negative things happen during Aries season. I'm not going to go into like all of the history, but yeah, the Titanic did sink during Aries season. So yeah, I just want you guys to enjoy this week. I know it might be a little stressful. There may be some really weird things happening in our culture and the news cycle, just because of that square that's happening. So you're probably like, okay, when is this happening? Let's look at the actual dates. Monday we have the moon going into Sagittarius, which is like sort of the beginning of its pass over the galactic center. It doesn't actually get there till Tuesday. Well, very, very, very early Wednesday morning. So Tuesday, probably on the East Coast, very, very late at night, and then early Wednesday morning is when it's actually going to cross the galactic center. So I'd say from Monday through Wednesday, you're going to feel very. You could have a lot of sort of aha moments, or what people call them as downloads or whatever, from spirit, or being connected to some sort of source energy. You may just feel like get like answers or get questions coming to you. If you meditate, that might be a very powerful time to be meditating. You may be able to connect psychically to things during Monday through Wednesday a little extra easily because the energy is so powerful. And then the big day is Tuesday. So Tuesday is the actual square between Mars and Neptune. So please don't schedule anything on that day that requires um, following directions or asking for a concrete. I mean, I always think about like lawyers and doctors and people who like literally have to, and engineers, they actually have to, have clarity and perfection and, detail oriented things. And so those are hard days for people who are very much in that world, and that's their responsibility. But if you can avoid doing stuff like surgery or, you know, going to court or filing documents or, going on the long road trip where you're in unfamiliar territory, definitely don't go do on those days. And if you guys have already scheduled these things and you don't have a way to change them, please don't freak out, because we have to just live our lives. Astrology is great because it helps us figure out what's the best possible situation or what's the best way we can navigate it, but we can't stop our entire life based off of the planets, though some people probably do. So just be aware that Tuesday is the day, the big day of that exact square. And we've been sort of feeling the build up to it, which is kind of like, you know, what? Kind of well, wait, where did that come from? I don't understand that type of energy. Maybe a big shock will happen this week. Um, and people will be like, okay, well, that obviously was not the way that it was supposed to happen, or that was very, very unclear. So we may get some false messages, or the truth may come out after being hidden for a long time. I mean, that's much more like, well, we got some other stuff going on with Pluto. So Tuesday's the big day. Wednesday we're having we have the Kazemi. Like, I guess technically, I don't know. I really don't know if it's technically called a Kazemi when it's with the outer planets, because the outer planets were not discovered until after the term Kazemi. Um, I don't know. Combust, I don't think works with the outer planets, but Kazemi may. So you can, research that however you want. But there is an actual conjunction with the Sun and Neptune on Tuesday or on Wednesday. So, after the big event that happens on Tuesday, it's still going to be present throughout the week. So there's just going to be a lot of connections to Neptune. The Sun is right there. Mars is making that square. We have the Sun, and then of course the Sun squares Mars on Thursday. So that may be a sort of a follow up to this story. So it's not just like Tuesday's the end, like the beginning and the end of it. It's really kind of be a long story that happens all throughout the week, and we'll see different iterations of it. Thursday, we may actually get the concrete information, because Sun square Mars is much more um, illuminating and direction oriented. So, there may be like kind of a fallout on Tuesday. We don't really know the answer, but Thursday, we may actually get that. That's also the day that, let's see, that's the day that we have a shift from Venus in Aries going into Taurus. So that's kind of a nice feeling, maybe kind of comforting for us, because Venus in Aries is not its happy place. It's not technically where it wants to be. It wants to be in Taurus. So once Venus goes into Taurus, it's much more relaxed, much more able to share its gifts and joys. So you're the way you love, the way you feel sensory pleasures, the way you have connection to others, the way you show your love towards others, the way you want to be loved. All of that happens around Venus. So Venus going to Taurus is going to give us that sort of like feeling of, finally I get to feel like comfortable in my own skin and feel supported in this aspect. Then we have, there's just a lot of stuff going on Thursday. Thursday's kind of a big day. We have Mercury square Mars. So once again, Mars is like, boom, 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 having a conversation with all the inner planets. Having a conversation with Mercury, Sun, and Neptune this week. So yeah, there may be, like I said, Thursday may be the resolution, or the more information, the concrete after effects of Tuesday, because Mercury wants to talk to Mars about what happened. Mercury wants to get the information from Mars. Is Mars going to cooperate? We don't know. We'll see. Friday, we have Mercury conjunct the Sun. So once again, the Pisces energy. That's a Kazemi that's happening on Friday. And then something kind of exciting happens on Friday, which is the first Saturn and Pisces aspect between any planet. It has had an aspect to one of the asteroids last week, but as far as like having its first aspect to a real planet in our solar system, it happens on Friday, and that is with Venus, right? Because Venus has gone into um, has gone into Taurus, right? So Taurus is a sextile aspect to Pisces. So is Capricorn. So let's see, we do have yeah, right before. I'm not going to talk about that actually. Okay, so when we have this sextile between Venus and Saturn, it's going to be really interesting because it's our first experience of Saturn in Pisces, and you know we get to see what that's like, and it might be a little bit of support, a little bit of sort of a softening of that energy. I don't know. I mean, I didn't do the forecast last week because of some other issues that were going on, but um, I definitely felt a shift from when Saturn has gone through Aquarius into Pisces, and it does feel kind of like a softening or a melting. Like I talked about, like thinking about Saturn as like an iceberg. Saturn in Aquarius is like this sheet, a block of ice that just was immovable and totally cold, and just felt like winter never ended. And then moving into Pisces, it felt kind of like that iceberg was slowly melting a little bit. And maybe it's going to be coming, maybe might come crashing down. We'll see. But with Venus there, that is a gentle sort of supportiveness towards Saturn in Pisces. So Venus is coming to say hi. How are you doing? How has the experience been for you so far? And we'll see how Saturn reacts. And I'm thinking, hopefully, it'll be a gentle response because Saturn in Pisces, in my experience so far, has been a little bit of a positive shift. Excuse me. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Thursday, a lot of stuff happening. Friday, going to be a Kazemi, and then that first aspect with Saturn and Pisces. And then next Saturday, we have Mercury going into Aries. So here we go. The first planet is in Aries. I mean, we do have Jupiter there too still, but and of course Chiron. I think today there's a Chiron Jupiter conjunction. So I always forget about what's happening today because I'm always looking ahead to the week. But yeah, there is that big. I don't know. Some people may be really looking for healing, so it's a really great day for that psychic fair. I'm very happy that they got to have it today because people really will respond well to healing. Um, though some people may be very triggered by their wound at the same time. But anyway, so next week we have Saturn going into, or next Saturday we have Mercury going into Aries. It's out of Pisces, which it's not very supported or happy in Pisces because it's not very clear, but it's going into Aries, which makes conversations much more direct. So that'll be kind of a good thing, unless you don't want to have the conversation and you feel offended, because Aries is doesn't beat around the bush, right? So yeah, just enjoy this week. It's the final Pisces week. If you are in the Orbit membership, look to the uploads or the down. Look into the March section. I will be putting in some Kazemi exercises because we do have 2 Kazemis this week, and yeah, just enjoy it. If you can do something like magical or mysterious or dreamy, like I talked about going to the beach if you're nearby a body of water, or let's see, just don't you just be aware, right? Don't go too deep, right? I was like picturing. I remember one time when I went camping, I was wearing a pair of flip flops and I had my feet up on the fire grate, right? Like to keep my feet warm. And the fire, or the grate, was so hot that it melted right through my the bottom of my flip flops. So it's like that type of energy. Don't get burned, right? Don't fall asleep too close to the fire. Just because you're so Neptuned out, right? You're so in dream state that you hurt yourself, or there's a dangerous aspect to it. So just keep yourself safe this week. If you can safely meditate, if you can safely connect to spirit, if you can safely do any of the Neptunian things. Of course, I always hula hoop, right? Hula hooping is such a Neptunian thing. Just sort of losing yourself in the motion and the flow of music, right? And dance, right? Neptune is dance as well. So yeah, that's it really. Indulge and comfort yourself. You may not even have the choice, really, because people get pulled into Neptune so easily sometimes. And just beware of that Mars. Mars is, like I said, a mean bitch. So all right, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. And yeah, then we'll be fully into Aries season and the new moon. So Oh yeah, Albuquerque Astrology Group meets this Saturday, the 18th as well. So if you are in the Albuquerque area, come by and we're going to talk about Saturn. So, woohoo! I'll see you later. Bye.